pleasure in presenting Esquire's second annual Swing Music Concert, starring many of the All-American Award winners. It presents an opportunity for listeners throughout the country and in-person audiences in Los Angeles, New Orleans, and New York to hear the greatest musicians of today in this field in musical settings unhampered by the commercial considerations that so often restrict their performances. This year, individual winners will be able to play with part or all of the Duke Ellington Orchestra, which forms the nucleus of the Los Angeles concert. Also tonight in New Orleans, under the aegis of the National Jazz Foundation, Louis Armstrong and a number of pioneer musicians closely associated with the musical history of New Orleans, where so much of the early jazz originated, will take part in a concert designed to emphasize the role played by this city in the development of swing music. Part of this event will be heard on the air. Here in New York City, Benny Goodman and the great new Benny Goodman Quintet, with Red Norvo, Teddy Wilson, Sid Weiss, and Maury Feld, together with our Gold Award vocal winner Mildred Bailey, will contribute the East share of the network broadcast. The winners in Esquire's three teams of musical greats, Gold Award, Silver Award, and the New Stars team, were voted into these positions not by the general public, but by a picked jury of 22 experts who have spent much of their time studying this branch of music and have written about it for a wide variety of magazines. Esquire believes that these three events will present the truest and completest picture of the present swing musical scene. They will be unlike any jam session series you have heard on the air because they will include every kind of music in this idiom, big band and small, improvised and arranged, and every instrument used in its interpretation. In short, material is being made tonight for an oral time capsule to be labeled Swing Music 1945 AD. And we're happy to state tonight's entire proceedings are being carried to our boys on the battlefronts by Armed Forces Radio Services. We begin our concert tonight with a New Orleans tune and a New Orleans boy, Leon Prima and his band, featuring Irving Fazola and his clarinet. We take you now to the Municipal Auditorium in New Orleans.
Julian Prima. We continue our program of jazz from the hometown of jazz, New Orleans, Louisiana. Jazz grew out of the blues, Creole songs and French quadrilles, out of bands that marched down South Rampart Street and Canal during Mardi Gras, and out of all those other things that have made New Orleans a city of music for more than 200 years. New Orleans is proud of its music as it is of its ships and commerce, its Creole cooking and its colorful French Quarter. And tonight, Esquire magazine and the National Jazz Foundation take special pride in broadcasting a concert of jazz from the hometown of jazz. Our next guest is a jazz guitarist, one of the younger luminaries of the jazz world. She comes to us from Minot, North Dakota, by way of Joe Venuti's orchestra in that famous street of swing, New York City's 52nd Street. The tune is Rose Room and the soloist Mary Osbone. Famous pioneers of jazz, Louis Armstrong and Sidney Bechet. And with the help of his Jazz Foundation Six, composed of Louis on trumpet, Sidney on clarinet and soprano saxophone, James P. Johnson on the piano, J.C. Higginbotham on trombone, Paul Barbarin drums, and Ricard Alexis on the bass, Louis and Sidney are going to take us right back where they first heard their friend Bunk Johnson drive down the blues. And that's what they'll do for us now. Take us to Perdido Street, a spot famous in jazz history with Perdido Street Blues.
I had a woman living way back on town. Oh, she treated me right, never let me down. But I wasn't satisfied. I had to run around. Now she's gone and left me. I'm worried as can be. Oh, I've searched this world all over, wondering where she could be. I must ask her to forgive me. Maybe she'll come back to me. Now I'm lonesome and blue, and I've learned a thing or two. Oh, fellas, here's a tip. I'm gonna pass on down to you. Never mistreat your woman, because it's gonna bounce right back on you. Ain't no difference.
Century ago, blues and ragtime pianists began to carry the gospel to the far corners of the land.